Hello. We've had amazing 2 drives in the wilds of South Africa and Kenya. This is Safari Catch Up.
Raw. There we go. That's it. That's going to happen for the next 4 or 5 days with these two. Because yesterday they did find them on a property just to the west of us vessels, and then like last night, we actually I was saying, imagine these two come here and meet up with the other male and the other 3 females, and that's exactly what they did. I think this is such a fantastic moment here that we can see that these Nzengas are mating with the females. They've got cubs with the females. One of the females at the moment, one other female is pregnant. This female now is busy copulating. She's going to be pretty much, hopefully she takes, and even take another 110 days before she has her little cubbies. So yeah, it's all happening, and I'm very happy for the Nguma pride. Really, it's good for them. They know that they've got the security of these 2 big boys, and hopefully new little Nguma members will come about.
You might be able to just make out the very large head, which is characteristic of the snake eagle, and its bright yellow eye, which I think you can just see there. It is fairly distant, but I think it's still a sort of a juvenile one. In flight, it looked very, very white under the wings. I actually thought it was a black-chested snake eagle when I saw it flying, but upon closer inspection, it is indeed a brown snake eagle, but with just very pale underwings that we can't see here. You can actually just make out there his unfeathered legs, I think, through the foliage, and possibly getting harassed a little bit by a drongo there, which is quite normal. The fork-tailed drongos do like to harass at these raptors. Gail, I'm just not quite sure what you're asking there now, if you're referring to the legs, but the snake venom can affect brown snake eagles, I believe, but generally speaking, I'm not sure if I don't believe there is a natural immunity to snake bite, but one of their evolutions is those very, very thick scales on the legs to protect against bites. But generally, when they do see a snake, they will drop out of the sky and they hit it very, very hard with those talons. The impact, sharp talons and a twisting motion is normally enough to incapacitate the snake very, very quickly.
I just love this when this happens. I've seen it quite often now at various waterholes in various parts of Africa. I used to think it was quite unusual, and I'm not taking anything away from how special this is, but seeing a grey-headed heron surfing on the back of a hippo, it's certainly not commonplace, but I've seen it enough to know that it's obviously a habit that the species has developed. It's part of their kind of genetic behavior, and in places where there are hippos, this is what herons do. It's a bit of a commensal relationship. I'm sure some of you have heard about symbiotic relationships where 2 animals go into some kind of a relationship with one another where either one or both parties benefit. And commensalism is where one species benefits and the other one remains unharmed. And I think that's what's happening here. Now, you might wonder, why does the heron benefit from being on the back of the hippo? But as these hippos move around, and while we've been sitting here, we've sat here for quite a while, there's been a bit of toing and froing with the hippos, a little bit of argy-bargy and grunting. And as they're moving, they are disturbing fish in the water. And so the heron is then close enough to benefit from those fish that get disturbed and might just swim past where he can dart out and catch one.
Welcome to the northwest of the Mara, and we got Kito out walking, and I'm looking at her closely on the hindquarters. She looks a bit bloody. Not sure what that might translate into. I know she is pregnant, or she was pregnant. Not sure she might have given birth, but I can see some redness or signs of blood from her hindquarters. And I'm still trying to think through my head where the blood would be coming from. If anything, it should be from the mouth area, meaning she had fed. But this one leaves me a bit confused. Is it from Lola, who gave birth the other day? Is she starting labor? Is it her calves that she gave? I mean, there's some facts I need to find out shortly after this. I don't see like she has enough milk on her mammary glands. Definitely no suckle marks, because I didn't see any blood on her face or mouth to have indicated that she might have eaten something. That I did not see.
Oh, everyone, what perfect timing. That is amazing. We've been sitting here staking out this nest. I love spring because if you pay attention, you find these beautiful nests. And we saw the red-billed or green wood hoopoe, used to be called the red-billed wood hoopoe, arriving at this tree with something in its beak. And that's generally a sign that there's a nest. And that little hole there is a nest. And we've had her coming, or her or him, it could be either, coming to feed the chicks with a juicy caterpillar. Caterpillar's still in the mouth, so the chicks haven't taken it. Oh, there we go. Caterpillar's gone. So it's taken both times quite a while for the chicks to take the caterpillar. And I'm not sure what the reason for that would be, other than the fact that maybe they're quite small and not as experienced as older chicks would be at grabbing that caterpillar from the parent.
So you've got two battleurs here, or one is just off to the right. This is close to the tree where they seem to roost every night. So it's a male and a female, and there's two sub-adult chicks. They're still brown, so obviously juvenile battleurs can take quite a few years to get their full adult colors, anything between 4 to 5 years to reach full maturity. They don't have a tail, so they do look quite unusual. As we're looking at this guy here, you can see they're a tailless eagle, which makes them look rather unusual while in flight. They do spend most of their day flying up in the sky looking for food, so anything between 8 to 9 hours a day. These incredible aerial birds will be up there flying away. I do love the colors. They've got very vibrant, bright colors. Have a look at those very yellow legs. Oh, he's got some wind blowing from behind, making his feathers all puffy. Very pretty yellow-orange legs and yellowy orange color on his face and on the end of his bill as well.
Oh, we've got a very nice sighting actually, a whole troop of baboons making their way across these open plains, being harassed by the wattled lapwings as well. Of course, the baboons will happily take a lapwing egg if they were to find it. But nice to see baboons out in the open like this. They're very fluid movements that they've got. Yes, Lydia, so the baboons will normally, we say they roost like birds do, so they'll have a few really preferred trees in certain areas that they'll use, big jackalberries, big marulas, big figs, and they will often overnight in one of the same trees, so they'll roost there, and then in the mornings, now it has suddenly warmed up. In the last half an hour it's gone to the point where I had a fleece and a jacket on. I'm down to just my t-shirt now, or just a shirt now. So now that it's warmed up, the baboons have also started to get a little bit active, and they often do hang out in the drainage line. Just the other side of these trees where they're disappearing into drops down into one of those riverbeds So a greater chance of finding some interesting foodstuffs there, I would think.
Having two species of these antelopes. We got the common elands, that's what we have currently here. And you can tell they're ruminants. You can see them regurgitating and chewing cud. The other species being the giant elands, that's not found neither in South Africa or in East Africa. It's more to the Central and Western Africa, which are slightly larger than this. And looking at all the antelopes we have in Africa, for me, it's only the elands that we have been able to domesticate. They've been domesticated for their milk, partly meat. Can't remember what I was told or read one day. The quality of their milk is very close to human. I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but people have been known to feed young kids with eland's milk, and it's a very good quality.
We've just managed to find our lions. They are not too far from the kill site of where the eland was. There's a sub-adult male hiding from us in this thicket, but just off to the left there's the kill site where the eland was killed, and there's a lioness there. So we also have 3 lionesses in the area that have cubs at the moment. Some of them I think are around about 4 weeks, and then there's some others that are around about 3 weeks old. But this lioness, oh, she looks rather round, and I don't think it's from her last meal. Look at her. She's just picked up part of this eland carcass and off she goes. It's like when you are hungry but you want to take your leftovers to bed. I feel like she's trying to take her leftovers into this thicket so that she can sleep and munch at the same time. There's been no hyena or jackal around. Yesterday at some of the kills we saw loads of vultures. My goodness, so many vultures, but there's been no other scavengers around. Let's have a look here. They're going to disappear into their little thicket now. I love how these 2 sub-adults, they waited for this lioness to bring the food.
I just want to double check. Yes, that's kiongozi, no doubt about it. And it got a small little wound on top left back leg. Alex, you're wondering when the Topi boys' bands will get darker. Alex, if you've been following us, we've got 7 males here, and one of them, Kudzuri, his band is very dark. And it always depends on the father. It's all genetical. Like this guy here, Kiongozi, I highly doubt the male will get darker than this. There's some that remain blondie all their lives, but again, as they age, anything 6-7 years, if the mane was meant to be darker, it will. But at the moment, this boy is 3 years old. His mane is blondie, but possibly maybe when he goes to the 5th, 6th year, it might get a little darker than it is currently. Hello, Kiongozi. Do you want to lay down, have a drink there possibly? He's definitely drinking there. Most likely he's having a drink. That's my guess. He has walked a long way from where we first saw him.
He's having a good drink. So after they've had a good meal, like the meal they've just had, big eland, they are quite thirsty, these lions. And because of the rain we've just had, have a look. There's all these puddles in the rocks here. So at least the lions don't have to move too far. Obviously quite a youngster. You can see his mane is slowly starting to grow in there. Oh, we've got one of the lionesses is joining. Hello, girl. Maybe she's going to come and join this youngster for a drink. Yeah, so at the moment, these black rocks that we know of in our area, they haven't been killing so regularly. And I think it's because two of the lionesses that are kind of the driving force on the hunting brigade have little ones. So the sub-adults have not been doing so well on their own, although they were quite successful with their kills the other day. Hey, girl. Can hear this youngster lapping away. This water is going to be nice and fresh. Otherwise, the nearest stream is not too far away. It's probably about 500 meters.
Grey crown cranes. Could be a male chasing the female, as well as the tradition out here. That is what I call a courtship dance. We have the rains, everything's green, lots of food, time to maybe mate, lay eggs, have new chicks. And maybe after this display here, after mating, they'll always use some tall grass, some wet area to lay eggs. And the female will lay anything between 2 to 5 eggs. Eggs that are looking whitish, dirty white, 2 to 5. And apparently both the male and the female will incubate those eggs. And after about a month, we'll have 2 chicks or 3 depending, but always in some wetlands with long grass. In general, they get 2 chicks that I have always counted. Once in a while, we also see 3. And they take anything between 60 days to about 100 days to fledge.
We're sitting with a little bee eater here, and he's just been so accommodating, hasn't really moved much. His mate was with him as we arrived, but the mate has flown off. And this little chap eats stinging insects as a specialist. So it'll catch other insects, especially flying insects mostly. But it is known to really specialize in bees and wasps and hornets and all the stinging insects. Hence the name, obviously, bee eater. Kind of gives a clue to that. Jedi know that chicks are born bald. Little bee eaters they nest in holes, and the chicks are very well protected, but they are altricial, which means that they're not very well developed when they hatch from their eggs. They will be bald, and then they get these funny looking things that I can only really describe as looking a little bit like mini porcupine quills start sticking out. And that is actually the feather covered by a little protective sheath as it pops out of the skin. And then those protective sheaths kind of fall away and the feathers start sprouting. But the little chicks will be pink and completely bald when they're born.
I'm sure you know I'm very close to the marsh area, and in the marsh area, the marsh itself is a very important wetland of the Masai Mara, and it supports lots of wildlife. Not forgetting this grazing hippo. Many people never really get a proper perspective of how big and heavy hippos are. Just look at this bull. I only would say it's a bull being alone and being out of the water and feeding at time like now. I mean, by any standard, I'm trying to compare him to that elephant in the background there. Of course, the elephant's much bigger and heavier. Hippos may look small, but they weigh a lot.
This is probably the closest vulture that be sitting in a tree that I might have ever been a part of putting on camera. So this is a hooded vulture, and look at these beautiful visuals. We've got lovely afternoon light when he or she turns the head, the size of that eye. You can see the external ear opening, that little fluffy hair on the top, and the bald face. And then look at that amazing hooked beak, that reinforced keratin to enable it to strip flesh from bone. But really spectacular images. I say the size of the eye. Remember, a bird is basically just two eyes with a little bit of skeleton around it. That head is mostly eye. We can only see a small part of it. It's like an iceberg. And vultures, we know, are or do have particularly acute vision. They do reckon that a vulture, say, could read a newspaper from over a kilometre away. That's how good their eyesight is.
And this is the lilac-breasted roller. I love this particular bird mainly for two reasons. Number one, I would want to believe they're the most beautiful birds you'll see in Africa. And for me, they're very colorful. For such a small bird to have like about 8 different colors, it's like someone just painted them, you know. And I would imagine when you also see them in flight, and especially the males, you see them rolling, and occasionally you see them mating while rolling in the air. The males tend to roll more in the air than the females. For those two reasons, their colors and mating or rolling, you know, mating while rolling in the air, that's what possibly gave them their names, the lilac-breasted rollers. I would imagine she's definitely wanting to look for some food as you see her turning her head. I guess the males are slightly bit larger than females, or is it the other way around? That's the only way you can tell the difference between, you know, when you are looking at sexual dimorphism between these two, the male and the female. Otherwise, it's very difficult to tell them apart unless you see two together and find out who is bigger than the other.
So we've managed to sneak a little bit closer to our southern ground hornbills. And this individual on the left was calling quite a lot. Of course, he's just decided to stop, but I hope he'll start calling again. They were giving themselves a bit of a groom, so with all the rain we had this morning, a lot of the birds were sunning themselves, so splaying open their wings, sunning themselves, trying to dry out, grooming after a lot of rain and getting very wet. So if we're lucky enough, oh, there we go, having a nice groom. What is that one doing? Are they like aloe grooming? So once they open up their wings, you can see they're not just black, so they do have these beautiful white primary feathers. Either aloe grooming, it could be a sign of affection, or with that long sharp beak of theirs, it could be just poking them in the head. I would hope they're grooming each other. Yeah, they're grooming each other.
Well, everybody, look who we have here. We've got the little one of Kuchava, the young female. Her name is Rulani. Ooh, there we go. She's like, yeah. Thank you, everybody. I'll show you my teeth. But isn't she adorable? Hello, my girl. Good afternoon. Mommy's not too far. Mommy's around. Well, I shouldn't say that too loud, because it looks like maybe she wants to come towards us now. Oh, look at this. Beautiful lighting on her as well. Yeah, she's on a mission. She's doing what she needs to do, but she's heading straight back to now where we last had Kuchaba, her mom. Heading straight into that direction. And give and take, it could be any time soon that the two of them might actually hook up or link up. Oh, she's decided to sit. That's nice. I can hear a little squirrel shouting. Even Rulani could hear that squirrel.
Okay, we are out doing some botany. I am standing next to a recently destroyed false marula tree, but not destroyed by the elephants. They've broken it, it's been snapped off, but it's still growing. You can see some nice fresh leaves coming through, called a false marula because it resembles the very famous marula with the fruits, but is different in many ways. And what it's most famous for here in South Africa is for some of its traditional beliefs with regards to its roots. If you look carefully, growing on the roots is this fluffy substance. It looks like hair almost from an animal, but this is actually coming from the tree. So we call it root hair, basically. And this is what the local people use to incite forgetfulness. So it could be used if you've got debt with somebody and you're trying to get away with not having to pay that debt. You could give some of this to that person. It's also been used if you've got somebody who is an enemy, to try and get them to forget. But more importantly, if there's been a particular trauma in somebody's life, this might be taken to try and help deal with some of that sort of PTSD and forget about it. And even also given to livestock. When you translocate an animal from one place to the next, sometimes they struggle to settle. The whole experience is quite traumatic for the animal. So this stuff has been used traditionally to feed to the animals to help them forget about it and settle in their new homes.
Oh, what is this coming up here? A brown hyena. Oh, I think we have a brown hyena, guys. Oh my word, this is so exciting. Oh my goodness, everyone. Look at this. You can see it's all fluffed up. So probably trying to make itself look really big and intimidating. There it goes. I wonder if it's going to manage to intimidate these cheetah. Oh, there's a bit of an interaction. Wow, look, do you see how the cheetah slapped the brown hyena there? Oh my word, guys. This is incredible. That brown hyena is so confident. Oh, boys. 3 cheetahs. No, I think you're right. I think this might be the 2 males with the female that we had the other day. Oh my goodness, guys. We now have 3 cheetah trying to stand up to 1 brown hyena. Oh, that brown hyena's just basically disemboweled the... Oh my goodness. Okay. That was a pregnant blessed buck, and the brown hyena's running off with the fetus, everyone. I thought it had disemboweled the blessed buck, but it's actually got the fetus.
Well, yeah, we have just made our way to the 2 lions, the one in Kuma female on the left and then Zenga male on the right-hand side. This is the honeymoon couple that we had this morning. We haven't seen them mating yet, but yeah, just want to see. Maybe. Well, no, it looks like he's very tired. No, they've started mating from yesterday, so this is pretty much their second day. And this will last up to about 5 days. And then we'll copulate every like 15-20 minutes.
As you can see, nature never fails to deliver something magical. We hope you enjoyed the Safari Catch Up. We'll see you on the next one.